Hello and welcome to another edition of TVS Correspondent, the show where we take a look at what's happening in the US and around the world. I am Radzi Ahmad, and with me is our correspondent for the United States of America, who is now in Washington, D.C., Alfian Zaidi. Alfian, it's been a while since we last saw each other, and I hope you're doing well over there.
Indeed, it has. Hope you're doing well also over there.
I am doing well. Right. Without further ado, let's get right into the first topic on our agenda today. Last week, there has been a bombshell of a report published by ProPublica, a nonprofit investigative newsroom, where they had obtained a massive trove of documents belonging to the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS, or the United States Tax Authority. That report revealed that America's wealthiest individuals, people like Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Bill Gates, among others, have avoided paying billions of dollars in taxes for years, resulting in income tax bills that amount to only a fraction of their net worth. It also said that some of them paid zero, zilch, nada, in federal income taxes in some years. But let's get into the greedy details. Alfian, how much did these billionaires actually pay in federal income tax compared to their net worth?
Let me tell you, Radzi, it's astounding. Between 2014 2018, some of the richest people in the country paid less than 2% in average in federal income tax compared to their wealth growth at the time. Just to name a few, Warren Buffett of Berkshire Hathaway Incorporated, with net worth of $24.3 billion, had only paid 0.1% of that amount in federal tax. Jeff Bezos from Amazon, with net worth of $99 billion, paid only 0.98%. Michael Bloomberg, net worth $22.5 billion, paid 1.3%, while Elon Musk of Tesla, with net worth of $13.9 billion, only paid 3.27%.
To put this into perspective, how much did the 25 richest Americans pay in federal income tax versus their wealth growth, compared to how much all middle class Americans pay in federal income tax compared to their wealth growth?
The results are stark. According to Forbes, those 25 people saw their worth rise a collective $401 billion dollars from 2014 to 2018. They paid a total of 13.6 billion in federal income taxes in those 5 years. The IRS data shows that's a staggering amount, but it amounts to a true tax rate of only 3.4%. It's a completely different picture for middle class Americans. For example, wage earners in their early 40s who have amassed a typical amount of wealth for people of their age from about 2014 to 2018. Such households probably saw their net worth expand by about $65,000 after taxes on average, mostly due to the rise in value of their homes. But because the vast bulk of their earnings was salaries, their tax bills were almost as much, nearly $62,000 over that 5 years period.
Well, that seems fair. What are your thoughts on that astounding difference, Alfian?
This super obvious gap, if not addressed by the government soon, with major income tax reforms, could trigger a taxpayer revolt, as what we have seen in the past. In the past year and a half, hundreds of thousands of Americans have died from COVID 19, while millions were thrown out of work. But one of the bleakest periods in American history turned out to be one of the most lucrative for billionaires, ironically. So they have added 1.2 trillion to their fortunes from January 2020 to the end of April of this year, according to Forbes.
Alfian, how does the US tax system work that allow billionaires to legally get away with avoiding tax? What strategies or loopholes are they using to do this?
The ultra wealthy use an array of techniques that aren't necessarily available to those of lesser means to get around the tax system. Most Americans have to work to live. When they do, they get paid. And they get taxed. The federal government considers almost every dollar workers earn to be income, and employers take taxes directly out of their paychecks. The Bezoses of the world have no need to be paid a salary. Bezos from Amazon, his wages have long been set at the middle class level of around 80,000 only, $80,000 only per year. While these wages are taxed at a high rate, a vast income of his came from dividends, sales of stocks, bonds, or other investments which are taxed at a lower rate in the tax system. You might wonder how are they paying their bills when they have average income and holding on to stocks, right? So the answer is that they borrow a lot of money. If you own a company and take a huge salary, you'll pay 37% in income tax on the bulk of it. You can sell stocks and you'll pay 20% in capital gains tax and probably lose some control over your company. But take out a loan. These days, you'll pay a single digit interest rate and no tax since loans must be paid back. The IRS doesn't consider them as income. So banks typically require collateral, but the wealthy certainly have plenty of that. For regular people like you and me, borrowing money is often something done out of necessity, say for a car, for a home. But for the ultra wealthy, it can be a way to access billions of dollars without producing income and thus no income tax.
Well, those are certainly dodgy. Some can say morally reprehensible, but absolutely legal ways for billionaires to avoid tax in the US. Pardon me for interjecting, but if I was an ordinary American hearing about this, I would be absolutely outraged. Well, this has certainly been an interesting start to this topic, but we're not done yet. We'll be right back on TVS Correspondent with more on this report. Stay tuned. Right, we are back on TVS Correspondent. Thanks for staying with us. Still on the topic of ProPublica's bombshell report on wealth inequality and billionaires getting away with paying basically nothing in federal income tax in the US. Alfian, some skeptics and economists criticize ProPublica's analysis of how little the super rich pay in taxes. They argue that owners of companies get hit by corporate taxes. They also counter that some billionaires cannot avoid income and therefore taxes. And after death, the common understanding goes there's a final no escape clause, the estate tax, which imposes a steep tax rate on sums over 11.7 million US dollars. Now, how has ProPublica responded to these criticisms, Alfian?
Thank you, Radzi. ProPublica found that none of these factors alter the fundamental picture. When companies pay corporate taxes, these costs are passed on to the company's owners, workers, or even consumers. Models differ, but economists generally assume that big stockholders shoulder the lion's share. The companies like Google, Facebook, Microsoft, Apple have often paid little or no US corporate tax at all by sending profits to subsidiaries abroad. While it is also true that not all of them avoid taxes by avoiding income, choices to offset their gains using credits or deductions, which can include charitable donations or losses to lower or even zero out their tax bills, are always available to them. Some own sports teams that offer such lucrative write-offs that owners often end up paying far lower tax rates than their multi-million dollars earning players. Others own commercial buildings that steadily rise in value, but nevertheless can be used to throw off paper losses that offset income.
Now, how has US authorities reacted to this leak? Say the IRS, the Democrats, the Republicans, how have they responded?
Well, some Democrats have gone to the extremes by floating ideas that challenges the the tax structure as it's existed for the last century. Oregon Senator Ron Wyden, the chairman of the Senate Finance Committee, has proposed taxing unrealized capital gains, a shot through the heart of Macomber. Senators Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders have proposed also for wealth taxes to be imposed. Meanwhile, federal authorities are investigating the leaks, according to Internal Revenue Service Commissioner Charles Reddick. He said taxpayer information is confidential and there are potential criminal penalties for IRS employees or others who release such information. Um, Mr. Reddick told lawmakers that there were internal and external investigations beginning with potential prosecutions to follow.
Final question, Alfian. In all these years, President Joe Biden has been very vocal about revamping and overhauling the tax system and making billionaires pay their fair share in taxes. That's all we want. Now that he is president, what are the measures he is taking or plans he is proposing to realize this?
The Biden administration has proposed a slate of changes. These include raising the tax rates on people making over $400,000 and bumping the top income tax rate from 37% to 39.6%, with a top rate of for long-term capital gains to match that. The administration also wants to up the corporate tax rate and to increase the IRS budget. What it would take for a fundamental overhaul of the US tax systems is still not clear, but the IRS data obtained by ProPublica illuminates that all of these conversations have been taking place in vacuum. Neither political leaders nor the public have ever had an accurate picture of how comprehensively the wealthiest Americans avoid paying taxes.
Well, small wonder that many politicians around the world and academics have argued that we need a way to tax wealth, not income. Unless, that is, the profit is sunk into another business, which the tax system as it stands is designed to encourage and to promote economic growth and new jobs, jobs that will produce income and therefore tax. That, in essence, is capitalism at work. But as with the new global consensus on taxing multinationals, the clamor for tax change is getting louder. Dear viewers, for joining us on TVS Correspondent, I am Radzi Ahmad with Alfian Zaini. See you all next week. Take care and stay safe.